You already mentioned the dedicatedness the hip-hop producers had back in 93, 94, 95, 96. Because they had to buy an MPC or... can you remember the first time you touched an MPC?
Yeah, it was Christmas '96. My parents bought me an MPC.
How was that? Was it a magical moment for you?
It was a magical moment to me because prior to that, one of my really close friends, Ray Montana, had an SP 1200. You know, and that's, I mean, that's, to me, that's the hip hop sampler. But he had that, and I was learning on that. And then after that, after I spent a couple years on that at his house all the time, like I finally got my own, which is in 2000. And it was a moment for me. It was like that changing moment. Because I remember my parents said at that time, because I was in college too, they were like, is this just gonna be one of your hobbies again? And to me, I knew it was gonna be bigger than that. I knew this was my life. I knew it wasn't just for fun. It wasn't a video game to me. It was serious. So it was that moment in my life where I knew that things were changing. And I was on the path to where I was going to be now.
And that you hoped you were going to be now where you are now in those, what was it, 16 years from then till now?
Did I think I'd be here now? I did, man. I'm a little different because I'm the kind of guy that if you bet me money that I couldn't run 30 miles nonstop right now, I'd say to you, you're stupid, I'll do it. Let's go, I could do it. Because I believe in myself like that, whether I could do it or not.
Is that the dedication you need to be a successful hip-hop producer with analog?
It's not even just hip-hop, man. It's just, you know, anybody that's just an artist. It's just an artist. It's a unilateral perspective that artists just have. You should always try to be your best and not have anybody stop you. When I stopped sampling music and started playing instruments, my close friends were telling me I was stupid, saying, like, what are you doing? You didn't have band in high school. How are you gonna learn how to play instruments? People are gonna laugh at you. I'm like, dude, I think this is the right way to go. But I wouldn't let people stop me, you know, to the point where I learned how to play every single instrument on an album. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want anybody stopping me. But people always said that I couldn't do this, couldn't do that, and I always did it. You know what I'm saying? So, that being said, in believing in myself, I continue to prove to myself that things that I didn't know I could actually do. And then when I hit that point, I tried to even go further, and then I hit another point, I tried to go even further. Going back to your question of did I picture myself here back then, I always pictured myself as being a successful musician, but if I would have pictured myself being able to play like 3 different kinds of flutes, or 3 different kinds of saxophones, or, you know, be an accomplished drummer or bass player, all that stuff, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But when I believe in myself to the point where I'm challenging my ability to persevere, that just keeps on making me better and better. And I keep on proving something to myself. Because I always challenge myself. When I make music, I say, I make music for that audience in my head. There's an audience in my head that says if something's good or not. And I always try to impress that audience. And in doing so, it allows me to, thank you, it allows me to continue to be better, you know what I'm saying? And be the guide of what I think trailblazing should be. And I feel that when artists follow trends or follow what other people tell them is good, more likely than not, they're gonna lose that ability to see the light within themselves, you know? So, going back to your initial question, I pictured myself at a position where I'd be successful in music at this time, but I don't think that I would have envisioned that I had the musicianship that I actually do have now.
And do you think you have a different musicianship than in now from now till 5 to 10 to 15 years from now on?
Oh, I'll always, like my job is to become better. That's my job to myself, you know what I'm saying? I'll never stay stagnant. Only way I'll stay stagnant if I just follow trends.
Last question then. you record only analog into your own
Yes,
label.
all analog.
Can you explain the sound between analog and not analog? Is that explainable, or is it just
Yeah, and
something you
something
need
I
to
could
hear?
articulate. For analog versus digital. Analog captures more frequencies than digital does. So I always say creating music is putting information and saving it onto something. You're dumping information into something. When you dump this information into a digital bucket, there's holes in the bucket. There's certain frequencies that digital forms of media cannot hold, okay? When it comes to bottom end, when it comes to top end. But analog is high resolution. It holds everything. So from that standpoint, this is where I want to be because this is already better. This is already a better start from here. But then also sonically, the analog sound adds a level of sweetness to the music due to its compression natures and due to how it captures the sound. Digital is not that pretty. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't give anything back. So just from that standpoint alone, this form of medium is already sweet and golden. And also this form of media has created so much timeless music. And this form of media, to me, this is very subjective, hasn't really done much. This is a better sound for me. And it's all subjective, man. It's like if I'm making modern music for Katy Perry, I don't think that analog is the best for her because that's not her sound. That doesn't cater to our audience. But for what I do, which is based on that old sound, pushing forward, it has to be on analog.
For yourself.
Yeah.
And final question then, short maybe. You already worked with Ghostface, RZA, and now Snoop Dogg, I heard. Is there one particular person you want to work with in the future? Do you have a dream of?
You know, I get asked that question a lot, and I always say that it's hard for me to answer that because I'm already working with people that I've always wanted to work with. You know, once you cross that line and get in, the world opens to you. So a perfect example is I'm working with someone that I refer to as the best male soul singer in the world, which is Bilal. I'm doing an album with Bilal right now, which is like Pink Floyd meets Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder meets, you know, Tribe Called Quest to the RZA. You know what I'm saying? Like doing a kind of album like that with someone like him is, it makes me question whether I was put on this earth to make that album. You know what I'm saying? That's how much of a big deal that is to me. But also working with, like I said, Souls of Mischief. I know 93 Till Infinity, their first album by heart. That's a dream come true. But then also being close friends and working with Ali Shaheed Muhammad on a new album. That's just like, I'm doing all this stuff. From Cee-Lo to, I'll be working with Common. I mean, like, you know, Kendrick, to all these people. Like, these are people I'm working with. And it's puts me in a position where I have no time to really think and reflect on it. I just have work to do and go. But when I do have those moments where I can stop and think, it's like, wow, I'm doing everything beyond what I've ever dreamed.
Is it then once you're in, it's a small world, but once you're in?
Absolutely. Once you're in, it's a small world. But once you're in, you have a job to do. And that job is something you owe that job to yourself. You work so hard to get to this point. Okay, what are you going to do now?
And
Are you just going to relax and chill, or are you going to try to push that to the next level?
And do you feel like you have to give something back to the music?
Absolutely. I mean, innately, I'm the type of person that pays homage to the people that have given me something. It's just something in my heart. I'm a virtuous person like that. So, you know, when I'm working with William Hart for Delphonics album, or when I'm working with The Ghost or Souls of Mischief, I always want to give these people something back. I want to give them a piece of me because I've taken pieces of them. Then also with modern artists, I want to work with them to give something to the younger audience that maybe weren't privy to hear the golden era soul artists or the golden era hip hop artists. So it's definitely a weird cyclical process that I'll always have for the rest of my life. It's like Quincy Jones working with a Frank Sinatra. You know, it's just the same thing.
Thank you for your time, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Cool.